I'm your host, Ma Chi. With China easing its COVID controls and new infections surging across the country, some Western media outlets claim that China's zero COVID policy failed. They said Beijing abruptly dropped the zero COVID strategy, and is you prepared for the eruption of new cases? Which sounds like the Chinese government scrapped all prevention measures overnight. Is that true? In fact, China has been fine-tuning its COVID strategy in an orderly and phased manner according to the developments of the epidemic. On June 28th, the country released its 9th edition of COVID Control Protocol, which shortened the isolation time required for close contacts and inbound travelers to 7 days at designated sites, plus 3 days of in-home health monitoring, or so-called 7+3, from the previous 14+7. As the highly transmissible and less virulent Omicron became the dominant variant, the country announced 20 optimized COVID response measures on November 11th, which further reduced the quarantine time required for close contacts and inbound travelers from 7+3 to 5+3, and stopped tracking secondary close contacts. The country also cancelled the circuit breaker mechanism for inbound travelers. It was on December 7th, or nearly a month later, that China readjusted its COVID control measures, stopping mass testing and advising patients with mild symptoms or no symptoms to stay at home for isolation. According to the 10 optimized COVID rules, apart from special places such as nursing homes, medical institutions, and schools, testing results would be no longer required for people entering public venues. Then 20 days later, on December 26th, in response to the fast-changing epidemic situation, China downgraded COVID-19 from Category A to Category B infectious disease and said it will no longer require inbound travelers to quarantine starting January 8th. This is in response to the increasing calls for Chinese people to travel abroad and foreigners to come to China for work and business after 3 years of pandemic-induced disruptions. So, has China done nothing to prepare for the reopening? Let's see some figures. The number of China's ICU beds per 100,000 people has doubled from about 5 in 2019 to about 10 this year. And over the past 3 years, China has fully vaccinated over 90% of the population, including 86% of people aged above 60. And the country is ramping up efforts to give booster shots to seniors. All countries have to experience pains to go back to normal, and China is no exception. The difference between China and many other countries is that China has decided to fight longer to win more time for the virus to mutate into much less deadly disease, and to vaccinate as many people as possible. Over the past 3 years, China has had one of the lowest rates of death and severe cases in the world, and the population's life expectancy increased from 77.3 years in 2019 to 78.2 years in 2021. During the same period, the global life expectancy dropped from 73 years to 71.4 years. As the Human Development Index, which measures a nation's health, education, and standard of living, has declined globally for 2 years in a row, China's ranking have moved up from 85th to 79th. Does that look like a failure?